What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and this is my box office prediction for Morbius. All right, let's talk about it. This movie has had a lot of difficulty from as far back as I can remember. The movie probably should have been out a couple of years ago. It's gotten bumped around so many times, even in this year. It was supposed to be out in January. Now it's coming out this weekend, April 1st. April Fool's Day, and we're going to see if the people at Sony are made fools of by how they handled this particular property. Now, you can see it here, this article from Screen Rant. Morbius box office debut projected as the lowest Spider-Man live-action movie. And it's already gotten reviews from overseas. You can check out the video above. Me and T discussed that on Movies with the Homies this weekend. How, yeah, like nobody's liking this movie. Like the people who had watched it and actually sat down in the theater, observed the movie, checked it out, they said this thing is bad, it's boring, it's getting like some of the worst early reviews I can remember in recent memory. It's also said they had like the worst like post-credit scene. I was like, wow, like they said this is the worst post-credit scene in movie history, like all movies, not just comic book movies. So, you know, it's got me scratching my head, like what did they do? You know, the trailers were always kind of a little bit underwhelming to me, so it wasn't like I was blown away and expecting a lot, but I was hoping it would at least be decent, you know, good film, kind of kick back, enjoy yourself. So yeah, what's it gonna do in its opening weekend, and what do we expect it to do domestically for the long haul and also worldwide? So I'm gonna get into that. Just kind of scrolling through this article, it kind of says it right here. I highlighted that portion. According to Deadline's estimation, the film is expected to open at $50 million for the opening weekend. Now, that's the projection. Is that what it's going to do? You know, I have my doubts. I have my doubts for a lot of reasons, and I'll get into those. But it goes on to say that at $50 million, the opening weekend for Morbius would be far lower than Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage, along with all the movies with Spider-Man. Now, I'm not surprised at that. Like, the thing about Morbius is a character that not a whole lot of people know anything about, right? You know, I mean, they know Venom. Venom is like a more popular character, you know, and I'm talking about like the mainstream general audience. I'm not talking about people that are deeply into the comics or the cartoons. They've seen Venom. You know, Venom was in a Spider-Man movie before, Spider-Man 3, back in, what is that, 07? I mean, so it's been around. The character is known. So for Venom to do well, not really that surprising. But Morbius, like, nobody knows. They say, oh, it's a vampire movie. You know, nobody knows what this is going to be. So I think that's one of the main issues that we could see. Now, we've seen this number before, and this is the box office projections on boxofficepro.com. And, you know, we discussed this, you know, 40 to 50 or 60 million right there, you can see, and then, you know, a total domestic take of about 130. That's what's expected for this film. I'm not necessarily thinking that this is too far off. I think 40, 60 million, somewhere in that range is definitely doable. It's at 50. I'm thinking it's going to fall down to the lower end, and I'll give my reasons for that in just a moment. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just jump over to the reasons that I think Morbius is going to kind of trend like further down than up to the upper half of 50 million. Let's go ahead and check that out. All right, and this is the make it and break it period for Morbius. So once again, you know how I do this. Morbius has a budget of $75 million. That's how much it costs to make the movie. Now, the break-even number, as we say, that's 2.5 times, twice the budget plus half the budget, and that comes up to $188 million. Now, just to break that part down so folks understand, why is it twice the budget? Okay, like they spent $75 million. Well, how come it's not just $76 million and they've made money? Well, number one, the studio doesn't get all of that money. Okay, the studio gets about they get about half of the box office take. Okay, so half of the box office take is about what the film gets, because the other half goes to the theaters, of course. So the studio's going to get half, the theaters get half, and again, that's just kind of a rough estimate, but we use that just for the purposes of talking about it. And then the 0.5, or the half the budget part that I say, twice the budget plus half the budget, the half the budget is for marketing. Okay, generally a film will spend roughly about half of its film's budget for marketing. They've put in roughly about $112 million towards the movie, towards the making of this movie. Again, they put in the budget plus half the budget, and now in order to get all of that money back and plus make sure that the theaters are taken care of, they need to make about $188 million. Now, here's what's standing in the way. This is the important stuff, all right? So Morbius drops on Friday, April 1st, all right? And this is what's standing in the way. That first one, WrestleMania. WrestleMania is coming out. It is going to be not only Saturday, but Sunday. They split it up into 2 days this year. Okay, so you got WrestleMania on Friday or Saturday, WrestleMania on Sunday. Now you're thinking, okay, who's coming to see this movie? Yeah, young men are probably primarily the target audience, and that's also the target audience from WrestleMania. So you're sitting around talking with your buddies, and you're saying to yourself, hey, you guys want to go check out Morbius? And they're like, I've heard like bad things about it. I don't know. Yeah, let's just came back and watch WrestleMania. You know, I'll see Morbius next week. Or maybe they try to see like a WrestleMania match, and then they try to scoot out and go, you know, watch Morbius and then come back. I don't know. But WrestleMania is definitely in the way. Not only that, so let's say this weekend, Morbius does, you know, its numbers. What's coming out next weekend? Sonic the Hedgehog 2, okay? Big, highly anticipated film. People expect that to do very well. Hearing the reviews on that are kind of mixed right now, but we'll see as time goes on. But then right behind that, look what we got. We got that movie. You were like, who are those guys? That's Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. That movie is called Ambulance. It's a Michael Bay film. You know what Michael Bay is? Michael Bay is male action, testosterone fueled, beat 'em up, blow 'em up, shoot 'em up. I know I'm excited for that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for that kind of action, okay? I like a nice, strong male movie. We just got through with kind of a female movie with The Lost City. Ambulance is going to be full male testosterone. You watch the trailer, man, there's bullets flying all over the place. There's explosions. There's all kind of machismo going on. That movie is going to be huge for the male audiences. Again, that's who you would expect to go out and see a movie like Morbius, okay? And then following weekend, you got Fantastic Beasts. Okay, so that's all the stuff that's in the way of Morbius to try to make its money back, that $188 million. Now, I got to thinking, okay, last time we did a comparison, right? We compared Uncharted to The Lost City. They're both kind of in that same vein, you know, comedy, adventure, you know, maybe a hint of romance. There was more romance, obviously, in The Lost City than in Uncharted, but Uncharted was a bigger property, but those are kind of close, you know, and we kind of did a comparison. So I was trying to figure out what comparisons can I do for Morbius, and the only thing that I could come up with was the Harley Quinn movie, Birds of Prey. Okay, so let's look at these numbers real quick. Now, first of all, I know that Harley Quinn is a much bigger, more well-known character than Morbius, clearly. Got her own cartoon, got her own comics that are going nuts. People love her. One of my close friends is a huge Harley Quinn fan. So I already know how Harley Quinn was a much bigger property. But in terms of the other characters, like not too many people knew who Black Canary was. Not too many people knew who Huntress was. Nobody really heard of the Birds of Prey. Unless, of course, you're like a hardcore comic person. You know, the general audience didn't know any of those folks. So on that level, it's kind of similar to Morbius. So let's take a look at the numbers. So, you know, it was a late winter, kind of early spring release, kind of like Morbius. And it did a Friday night opening of 12 million, had an opening weekend of 33 million, a total domestic opening or total domestic box office of 84 million, and then the worldwide of 201 million. All right, so now we move over to Morbius, okay? And I think Morbius is strong enough. It's not gonna be a slam dunk like I just said, but I think it's strong enough to get $14 million on Friday night. And then the opening weekend, that's going to be really tough. Like I said, with WrestleMania coming out, it's going to be hard to get to that 44 million domestically, but I think there is a possibility that they'll get there. Most folks are saying, like I said, about 50 million. I'm thinking about 44 is a safer bet. All right, so then we look at the domestic total, and what I do with the domestic total is I use the multiplier. So a lot of you say, well, you know, Derek, what's the multiplier? Well, that's basically you take whatever the total gross of a film is divided by its opening weekend, okay? So because of the comparison with Birds of Prey, I took the multiplier from Birds of Prey, which is roughly about 2.6. okay? And then I use that here with my projection of what the opening weekend would be to kind of project what the box office total will be for the domestic market, and that's 117 million. And then I figured the worldwide. Now this is complete guesswork because I don't know how this thing is going to do on a worldwide basis, but I think it's going to be kind of a 40-60 split, like domestic 40, worldwide 60%. So that's how I get up to 290. And then I've checked out some other projections, and some of them are landing Morbius at about 300 million. Okay, that's close enough. I think that's where we're going to land. But it really depends on how this thing looks, you know, in terms of its box office potential. Do people think that this is going to be a good movie? Are people excited for this movie? Are people anticipating this movie? Because like I said, when you check it out and what it's going to be compared with, look what's happening for its first 3 weekends, okay? You got WrestleMania, you got Sonic the Hedgehog on the following weekend, along with the male, you know, like I said, a male movie for men, Ambulance. That looks like that's going to be pretty good. And then you got Fantastic Beasts, you know, the kind of the, you know, geek culture crowd that's into Harry Potter and all that kind of stuff. They will compete with Morbius for seats. So, you know, I don't know what Morbius is going to do. Is it going to hit that 188 million? That's the break-even point? And I think based on my projections, right? Based on my projections, yeah, it looks like a worldwide total of 290 million is in order, but we'll have to see, you know. But what do you think? Do you think that all of this stuff is going to stand in the way of Morbius making its money? You know, look at the eyes of this guy right here. He even looks like a little nervous about it. But, you know, jump down in the comments. Let me know what you think this worldwide total is going to be for Morbius. Will it break even? Give me the opening weekend, give me the domestic total, and give me a worldwide total. Okay, opening weekend, domestic, worldwide. Go ahead and let me know what your projections are going to be, and then we'll see who's right, you know, as the movie season progresses on. All right, so that's going to do it for me. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank all of the new subscribers. See a lot of you guys commenting on stuff. I really appreciate that. It means a whole lot. Tell a friend, share the word, you know, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.